Schemes are great. Defensive fundamentals are great. But your approach as a program to team defense has to be great too. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is creating a defensive culture. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about something we're doing new in tackling. When I put this presentation together, and out of all the things I've done, this is the only one I haven't changed in the system. And the reason I didn't change it is it is as clear and as perfect today as it was in 2016 when I put it together. The ideas that I'm presenting to you today, and every time I say this, I reassess my life as a coach, will be the success and or failure as a head coach for the rest of my career. These are the things that I believe, more than anything in football, that are so important. This will be the roadmap to success or failure. Number one is, I always put this in here. Do sharks complain about Monday? No. They're up early, biting, chasing things, and being scary, and reminding everybody, well, they're the shark. Well, here's what you need to know. The bottom line is this. If you play football, you're a shark. It is a violent game, and we do not turn that down. When we talk about creating a defensive culture, all right, through pursuit and fundamental tackling, we're going to talk about different things. We're going to talk about developing an aggressive team attitude. We're going to roll the clock back to the future and practice like you're supposed to. We're going to talk about how we select athletes on defense. We are going to talk about effort through pursuit. I'm going to talk to you how we've changed fundamental tackling in our program to make our kids safer and make us better in space. So let's talk about this. Develop an aggressive team attitude. Number one, coaching defense is hard. It's more difficult every year. The offense has every advantage. They can cheat and nobody cares. Coaching defense used to be a pretty fun thing. Now it's not. Okay, now you got to work your ass off. And to do that, you have to do it with a great team attitude. And here's the deal, man. It starts with the head coach. The head coach is responsible for creating an environment of success. The team defensive attitude is not something that should be delegated. That's where I got into trouble. I had a great defensive coordinator for a few years, been with me forever. He's a great coach, but you know what? He's not with the kids every day because he taught somewhere else. All right? He wasn't with the kids every day, and I was focusing on offense and didn't put my priority on defense, and kids sense that. If you're going to win and you're the head coach, you better make defense a priority so your kids understand it. Every day, as the head coach, you have to model the following things: urgency, importance, energy, toughness, and attention to detail. If you're not doing it, you're just pissing in the wind. Don't be afraid to practice. We call this back to the future. With all the rules that came out with concussion, a lot of us got nervous about practicing. So what we did is we defined how we practice. And we aren't afraid to practice. The first thing we did, and mind you, we don't put our kids at risk. But when we practice, we practice. The first one is fit is fit. Okay, what does that mean? Fit to us is live with hand shields and tag off the backs. And when I mean live with hand shields, you better buckle up or you're going to get your ass tossed. Okay? Thud is not tag off. Thud is live football at every position at the ball carrier. And the ball carrier, we tell our defenders to strike and try to knock his ass on the ground if you can't hold him up. If you got him racked up, you strike him and you wrap him up. We're not tagging off, we're striking it. And live is game simulation. We don't do that. I don't think we've had a live segment at all, except our team scrimmage. You have to attend to details. And fellas, if there's anything I've done in the last 3 years differently, is our attention to detail is tremendous on defense. Okay, alignment, keys, fits are not negotiable. If you got a kid that wants to negotiate his keys, his fits, here's what you're going to do. You're going to put him on the other side of the ball, put him on the third string. Because if you can't align and your keys and your fits aren't perfect, they are not negotiable. And we are going to, if you do something right, we're going to address it. If you do something wrong, we're going to address it. We're going to confront it, we're going to correct it, and then we're going to love you up. All right, Back to the Future. Great defenses attack offenses. They destroy their rhythm and their scheme. Stopping offense is a byproduct of destroying their capabilities to operate. You do it through movement, you do it through stemming, you do it through fire zone, zone pressures, and man pressures. If you're not a good pressure team, don't give up on it. Send a message to your kids that you're afraid. And that's what happened to us one year. A great defensive coordinator. And in a scrimmage, we had our best player out, and we were trying to test new kids. And every time we pressured, we gave up a huge run in the scrimmage. And I was madder than King, because I don't care if it's a scrimmage or not. I want our kids to look good. And you know what? Jeff thought it was probably because we were blitzing. I thought it was more personnel. And our kids lost faith in it, and we ended up playing coverage the whole year. It was the worst defensive year we've ever had, because you got to have them all. Okay, you got to have watch our kids get to the ball, man, because it's a defensive mentality. And as we get after it, okay, here we go. They're going to run like an ISO on us here. We're going to hit it deep. We're going to spill, and everybody's running. Get up and run. Get up and run. And pursuit is important because team defense is awesome. How about selection of the athletes? The number one thing is there are characteristics in a player I'm looking for. Not everybody can play defense. Some of our biggest mistakes we've made is we put kids on the field that physically looked like they could play, but mentally they were offensive kids. All right, here's one. Do they put the team first? You better put the team first if you play defense. Number two, do you play with a courageous motor? How are you when things are bad? How are you when things are bad? All right. Are you detail oriented? Do you hate to lose? And I always should think, oh God, don't put that in there, Pat. But here's what happens. You know what kid hates to lose? He's a kid when you lose. He doesn't go home and act like an ass. He doesn't throw his helmet on the ground and act like a 9-year-old exhibitionist. He doesn't storm around the locker room having a tantrum. He's the kid that quietly gets dressed. He apologizes for losing to you. And on Monday morning, when everybody's coming out of the coma, okay, and he's still miserable. Okay? That's the kid I want. I want the kid that hates to lose, not an exhibitionist. And then there's one I put in here. Can I coach them the way I need to coach them? Not every kid can play defense. I'm hard. I get that. Okay? But you know what? We're pretty good on defense. And we demand that our kids do the little things right. If someone's better than us, they're better than us. Okay? But it's not because we're not going to line up right and play hard. Weight room builds confidence. Confidence through strength enhances your defense. Confidence is the key to tackling. Confidence is the key to success in man coverage. Therefore, defensive backs, you get your ass in the weight room and tackle. This was always a big point for us a few years ago, and we've done a great job at this. Our defensive backs are bigger, stronger, better tacklers than they've ever been. And I call that back to the future. That is how we practice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about tackling. And we started hawk tackling about 3 years ago. And this is from our playbook. It says football is an ever-evolving game. Because of the changing nature of the game, the Notre Dame football program will emphasize hawk tackling skills for the following 2 reasons. It allows for our players to make tackles in space with more consistency. It allows for the head to be further removed from contact and continue to mitigate risk to our players. Teams that stay healthy and tackle in space will win more. It is a priority that we teach our players to tackle by keeping their head out of the tackle. Okay? The bottom line is this. Teams that stay healthy and tackle in space win more. Therefore, we hawk tackle. Let's talk about some fundamentals in tackling. These are the things we try to teach all the time. All right? We try to teach our theory of tackling. I'll share that with you in a minute. We want to teach our kids how to profile tackle. We used to call that a chest tackle. We teach them to hawk. We teach them to hawk and roll. We teach by position within the run game, and we teach by position in the pass game. As a coach, you better model and coach effort. We have to teach our kids to fit the internal run, the off tackle, the perimeter run, screen passes, ball in space. And bubble screen. So let's talk about tackling. First theory of tackling is this: never challenge an athlete's level of courage. Okay? This really bothers me. Here's what I know. We lose a lot of kids in football before they ever get to the high school because somebody out there is challenging their courage. Okay? And I always tell this story when I give this talk at Glazier Clinics. And my godson AJ is graduating from high school this year. And when AJ was a little boy, he wanted to play football more than anything else. And I told his parents, you wait till he's at least in the 6th or 7th grade. So they waited till he was in the 7th grade. And when he got to play football, that very first day they handed out the uniforms, he called me so excited and said, Mr. Pat, I got my uniform today. Do you want to see it? And I said, yes. He says, I'm on my way. Now, AJ lived 3.5 miles from us, and he rode over to my house in the rain in his brand new football uniform with his helmet on his head. He was so excited. And at the first game, AJ's team's not doing very well. And you can hear their coach in the locker room challenging their courage and using words that you don't even hear used at any time with, college kids or NFL kids. Words that you would be ashamed to ever be used in public. Challenging a young person's level of courage. Comparing a 12-year-old boy to a part of the female anatomy. Following that season, I saw AJ and I asked him how it was going. And he told me, it was okay, but I think I'm just going to stick and play fall baseball. And we lost a good kid in football. AJ's 6'4", 225 now, and he never played football. It was ridiculous. But you know what you can do? You can challenge a kid's technique all the time. If I have a player and I say, Clayton, and Clayton's a great player for us. He plays corner, he's a wide out, he just got offered at Western Illinois. Clayton is not a hitter. Sorry, Clay. Okay, Clayton is not a hitter. And we've convinced Clayton that he can become a tackler, that it's a skill. And he's a pretty good tackler now. But you know what? You don't have to be a hitter. You have to be a willing tackler. So, I'm talking to you, man, Clayton, you're really good. You have a chance to be a great year receiver, great year at defensive back. All we got to do is teach you to keep your eyes up and keep your feet under when you go to tackle. If you do those things, you got a chance to be All-State next year on both sides of the ball. Well, you know what? I didn't challenge his courage. I challenged his technique. And he goes home confident. Okay? We build confidence for drill design. You ever see these, pardon me, youth guys, sometimes I will watch some of the youth guys, never, I'm sure, around at your country, only in my neighborhood, okay, where they match up like the kid who's jumped out of the womb with a beard, and they're going to line him up against the 12-pound kid who's shaking in his knees, and they're going to run him at each other full speed, and then the kid pulls a hamstring because he doesn't want to get killed, and he goes home and he tells his mom, I don't want to play football. And mom tells him, okay, go down to the community center, we're going to turn your equipment, we're going to get you some shiny shorts and some Umbro pants. And we lose them to soccer because somebody got all excited about watching a little kid get run over by a bigger kid. You build your drills with confidence. You match kids by size. You practice the fundamentals every day, and you practice by position. Don't be afraid to teach strip and recovery. Let's talk about profile tackle. Profile tackle is used when in the box, when space for a dramatic cutback is possible. All right? It's a physical tackle that's designed to punish the ball carrier. We want to use shoulder leverage. We want to target the breastplate. We want to attack the near prep, pec, wrap, and drive for 5. And the head will only cross the body if the running back cuts back. In the old days, we used to always talk about get your head across, get your head across. You know what happens when you get your head across? You slow down. Back when we were kids, I know you millennials don't know what this is, but back when we were kids, you know what we used to do? We used to go outside and play. And what we would do is we would play football with no equipment on. And this is how we tackled. The last thing we were going to do, we're going to run in there, we're going to hit somebody because that's fun. Okay? But we weren't going to throw our face across their body and bust our nose up. We didn't play with equipment. We weren't like those kids with the baseball uniforms and the backpacks who have like $400 bags. You know what we did for padding? We put sponges from the dishwasher area, put them in the back of our pants. That's how we did it as kids. Okay, we used to play outside. And we used to tackle by taking our near shoulder and attacking the ball carrier. When we profile tackle, we track and attack with the near hip. And we strike with power, same hip, same shoulder. Same hip, same shoulder. That's how you tackle. Hell, I learned that a long time from Henry Bullitt back in the 80s. So when we teach profile tackling, what we're going to do is we're going to start with T-tackle. And all we do is pop and fit. Somebody stands like this, we get in there and fit. The servicing ball carrier will keep his arms straight out, and on the whistle, he'll provide a straight jump in the tackle. The tackler with the near shoulder, near hip will uncoil and generate force through the chest. Keep his face up. One step, you just step back and you step in and you T-tackle. And you're practicing same hip, same shoulder, creating power. We also can integrate the profile tackle by working in drills. Maybe you have your defensive lineman lock out and work on his post, rip, and run, and then tackle the ball carrier. We post, rip, and run. We track the hip and gather. We profile tackle. With my linebackers, we like to do the stop and go leverage drill. Where the ball carrier varies his speed, we try to keep leverage. He turns up, we profile tackle. Okay, we profile tackle. Secondary kids can integrate it in the W drill. All right, plant, point, and drive. We talked about that skill when you look into the defensive back drill book. All right, we track the near hip, and then we profile tackle. Hawk tackling. Once again, guys, back to when I was young. We had a kid in the neighborhood named Bruce McEwen. Moose. He was like 200 pounds in the 6th grade. And our neighborhood teams used to play against each other. The dreaded Sunburst Suns and the Eastgate Eagles. We would play each other. Game always ended in a fight. Good times. Good times. But we couldn't tackle Moosey in a chest tackle, so we had to tackle him down around the thighs. That's how we tackled. We hawk tackled. We profile tackled. It was natural. The hawk tackles utilize anytime the ball's outside the box when the defender is in space. Okay? We want our kids to tackle in space. We target the near hip of the ball carrier. We track the near hip. And as we attack, we run and gather. And we take our near shoulder and we run it through the near thigh. And we take our eyes, put them on the thighs, we wrap and squeeze and drive for 5. Our coaching point, eyes on the thighs, wrap and squeeze, drive for 5, face up. This cartoon, not very good. But this kid here from the Seahawks, he's outstanding. Look at him. Look at him. Eyes on the thighs, wrap and squeeze, and drive for 5. So here's how we do it. We start out with those big spacers, those huge ones, and we put our shoulder right out on the whistle. Okay, we'll wrap and re-emphasize that squeeze. And we run through the bag and we drive it 5 yards. And we want great velocity, near shoulder, near hip, violent squeeze, tracking with the face up, and we're going to hawk tackle. All right? It's an outstanding drill. Then what we do is we take the bag, and BC stands for bag carrier, okay? And what we do is he starts to pull the bag back. And the tackler will align 5 yards away on a 45. And we will attack the near hip of the spacer as the bag carrier pulls it back. We attack the near shoulder to the near thigh, eyes on the thighs, wrap and squeeze, drive for 5. And then we start to hawk and roll. And when I learned this, I was up at Michigan State. They helped me a lot. And Coach Tressel, I asked him, I said, Mike, when do you teach hawk And when do you teach hawk and roll? And he said, Pat, if you're hawk tackling and you drive and you hit him on the thighs and you knock him backwards, you can't roll. He goes, you can't roll. But if you drive for 5 and you wrap and you find yourself losing them or in a stalemate, you naturally roll to your technique or to your head. So that's what we teach both, but we don't tell the kids when to use them. Either hawk and roll. Your body will teach you what to do when you're there. And it does. The tackle will line 5 yards away. We will attack the near hip. We will drive. We will wrap, and you better wrap or you lose the bag. And you roll to your leverage or to your head with your face up, and you wrap and drive for 5. Hawk and roll, man. It is so fun to watch your kids do it in the field. These kids here are hawking and rolling, man. These kids here hawking and rolling. Look, they got no helmets on. You know why they got no helmets? They're playing rugby. Could you see if we did that? All the mamas running out there. Oh my God, where's the helmets? Where's the helmets? All right. Rugby kids don't wear the damn helmets. Okay, I wouldn't recommend it. But you know what? It's a safe way to tackle without headgear. That's why the rugby people do it. So what do? We teach fit and squeeze from a standing position and roll. Then we drive for 5, we wrap and roll. And then we let the bag carrier retreat. We drive for 5 and wrap and roll. Let me give you a coaching point on this. If your bags have the handles on the top, don't let your kids hold the handles this way. Make them hold a hand over the top so they don't hold on as they're being wrapped and rolled and get caught in the drill. As soon as they make contact, the bag carrier releases the bag. Let's watch some film on some hawk tackling. I got a bunch of kids that are pretty good with it. This kid right here, number 14, is really good with it. My outside linebacker, Spurs, really good with it. Watch him come up. Right there. That's pretty good. Watch them all wrap. That's just a hawk. That's pretty good. I like that. They're tackling at the thighs. All right, take your head out of the play. Here we go. I think my guy 42 gets in the action. He's a pretty good wrap and roller too. I'll tell you my secret later about this. Here we go. This is the one we got leveraged on. Our kids are running and wrap and roll. Okay? Wrap and roll. Love it. Let's see if we got another cut. We do. And here we go. Wrap and roll, wrap and roll. There it is. I'll give you my theory. You're going to like this. This is the Coach Fox theory. Let's see what we got here. This is a really good one, I think. Wrap and roll. Wrap and roll. When you start seeing it on your kids in film, it's really gratifying. Wrap and roll. Okay. Let me see here if I got one more cut. We saw that one already. Okay, here's my coaching point for you. You know who wraps and rolls? The little brothers. The kids who have older siblings who used to play with them. They're used to driving at the legs and wrapping to bring them down, like the Jolly Green Giant. That number 14's older brother is huge. All right? He wraps and rolls. He's got older siblings. That outside linebacker, he's got older brothers. Wrap and roll. Wrap and roll. Outstanding. Outstanding. I'm going to talk to you about a couple things that we can do in tackling, and then we're going to move on to our next topic. I think playing the ball with leverage and playing in space is important. You got to coach your kids how to do it. You got to teach them to play with maximum speed, track the inside hip, gather for leverage, and target the near shoulder with the hip. One of the drills we do is we teach our kids how to compress and how to play when a ball's in space. So we used to do the compression drill a lot. This guy runs down. We have 4 kids sprinting. We gather our feet. We close the gap. These 2 kids front the ball, and these 2 kids fold. The ball's on the perimeter. These 3 front, and the outside guy folds. Sort of helps us on kickoff too. What we do, and we can do it in tackling drills like sprint and stutter. We can do it in 3-man leverage drills, is we are teaching our players how to squeeze and compress and when can they fold. Over here, the ball's on the boundary. I have a backer, I have a bear, and I have a corner. What's going to happen? My corner's defending the boundary. My bear is working inside out with leverage. And as he works into the hitting funnel, my backer will fold. It's a tremendous way to teach your kids. And when we talk about tackling and tackling in space, it's part of developing that defensive mentality. You have to practice playing in space. Thank you very much. Defensive mentality. It'll make you better.